Hey, welcome back to Crew Squad Studios, where we use lame effects to make, well, pretty lame videos. Today, I'm here with my man, Jacob Kiefer. I am Noah Dellinger, and we're going to be discussing the new Infinity War Part 1 and 2 Avengers lineup. And as we all know, Avengers, Part 1 of that, Avengers 3, is going to be solely just Team Avenger. And then Part 2 is going to involve the Guardians of the Galaxy.
And everybody who has been... They said everybody who's been introduced into the Marvel Universe, like all the heroes.
Except some people that are dead. Steve Rogers. So, let's get it on who we think is going to be in here. So, returning, I don't know about you, Kiefer. I'll go ahead and start because I have this little list here. I think returning, they're going to have Hulk, Hawkeye, and Captain America. And I'll start with Captain America. I think I'm totally on board with Marvel going strictly with the comic books on Civil War and having Steve Rogers die. I'm totally fine with that.
But the question is, who's going to take up the Captain America shield?
Yeah, he's going to take up the shield. And I think if they go with the comics, it'll either be Falcon or Bucky. And I like how they're sitting with this, because right now how both of these characters are, either of them could really turn out to be Captain America. You know, Falcon is obviously working with Captain America. He knows him. And then Bucky's coming back. He saves Captain America at the end of Cap 2. And later you see him looking at himself in the museum. So I think really they could go either way with that. And either way would be awesome. And, I mean, obviously they've both been Captain America in the comics. So I think it'd work out well. And I think that either one of those guys would be one of the leaders for that Avengers, because obviously any Captain America role is going to be the leader.
Yeah.
So Hulk and Hawkeye. I don't really care about Hawkeye, honestly.
Yeah. No one does. Let's face it. Except if you're Peter.
I mean, dark, like West Coast Avengers, Dark Avengers. I'd be fine with him being a leader. He's pretty cool in those, actually.
And I think they're going to take like a mixture between the Secret Avengers and then the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, and then I'd like to see Bruce Banner still come as Hulk.
Yeah, because I don't want...
Obviously, they're not going to kill off Bruce Banner.
No, they're not. Because they're already thinking about putting him into the second Guardians of the Galaxy. And so I think that be a perfect time if Hulk brings the Guardians back, and so he fights with the new Avengers.
Yeah, like he could maybe be a little bit in the first one, then come back with the Guardians, the second one. And I'd be fine with them having a smaller part. As long as we see him tear some crap up, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So those are the returning people that I think will come. I don't really think Iron Man's going to be back.
No, not until Infinity Wars, like the end of it. You know.
The end of it.
When they bring all of the heroes back, it's not going to be. He's a major part in it.
How do you think he's going to come back? I haven't heard anything about them doing everybody in the universe. I didn't know they were going to do that.
That's what people have been saying, that they are going to bring everybody back, because it's supposed to be this if you look at the Infinity Gauntlet series,
it's like everybody.
Thanos destroys
half the
Marvel universe.
Yeah, obviously they're going to bring Thor back, some variation of Thor. With Thor 3, I think they're probably going to keep Chris Hemsworth. I don't think they're going to go with the girl Thor.
No, they're not.
But I mean, if they have Captain Marvel and well, let's discuss this after I do this. The characters that they're introducing, like, that have their own little background story before this Avengers 3, like Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Vision, who will be in Age of Ultron, Doctor Strange, who will have his own Cumberpatch will be starring that, who will have his own backstory, and then possibly Ant-Man. So Black Panther, I'm pretty positive about Black Panther. I think I think it's gonna go well. I think he could possibly want to be one of the leaders for Black Panther. I think what I like about Black Panther is they're kind of getting him a good setup with Captain America 3, the Civil War storyline, and then they give him his own movie, and then he goes. So obviously he's gonna have some experience coming into the Infinity War, which I like that. I think right now, not everybody knows who the actor is. He's a really good actor, by the way. He was in 42. And
which was a good movie.
Yeah, well, he's a really good actor. But nobody knows him. But I think by the end of Captain America 3, and definitely by the end of his movie, they're gonna really like him, and it's gonna go well. But let's see, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel has a movie in between the first and second part.
Yeah.
I think they're going with a lady Captain Marvel.
They are.
I don't really. Captain Marvel is not that big of a deal for me.
No.
I mean, they're pretty cool. I'm not like sexist or anything, but I just never got into the storyline. Vision, I'm really looking forward to. Vision will probably be one of the biggest characters for this, as he was in the comics. Like, most effective. Not a leader so much. He was more of the kind of laid back kind.
I feel like he's going to be the new Iron Man, because, you know, he's Jarvis in the movies. And
Yeah, and he's got those powers. Almost the same powers. He's just so much more effective than Tony Stark will be.
Because if you don't know, like, the Vision was created by Tony Stark to, like, fight off Ultron.
And originally in the comics, of course, it was Hank Pym.
Who made it, but now they haven't introduced Ant-Man until now, but...
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be the new Tony Stark, because Tony Stark will be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to fight.
And then he'll just give it over to Vision, because obviously Vision's going to help save him in
Yeah.
Age of Ultron. So we can trust Vision, but sadly we won't have, you know, the charisma
of
Robert Downey Jr. as much in Age of Ultron, just obviously because he's an android. And that's just how Vision is. He's just more calm. The question is, do you think that if they have Vision, do you think they'll play on the Vision Scarlet Witch?
I think they will, because if they don't, a lot of fanboys will probably like freak out about this. They'll go, "Why aren't you doing this? This is totally in the comics." You know?
I think that's actually one of the biggest parts. If you don't know, Scarlet Witch and Vision
had
our couple
love, and they had a child in the House of M, but they both died. And
and that's a pretty good story. If they put that in Infinity War, I'd be fine with it, because there's not been any relationships like that. Apparently in Age of Ultron, Hulk and what's her name, Black
Widow are definitely going to have this love interest.
Yeah, but I don't really. That's not as big in the comics as Vision and.
No.
But
that's more of a new idea. That's more of like.
All right, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is
probably the most out there. He's probably
he's probably one of the most interesting characters. I mean, they can do anything they want with him, because he can do anything he wants. Honestly,
he's like immortal.
Yeah, I mean,
he can like do
Cumberbatch. Honestly, Cumberbatch is gonna nail the role.
And I like to see the servant. Like, what's his name? But he can do like martial arts. He's like this Asian servant.
Yeah, if they'll probably put him in the original, like the backstory film, but the standalone film, but probably not in Infinity War, because he's not as big of a part. But I think I think honestly, people will enjoy Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and that kind of character will take over how Tony Stark was kind of rolling it. Not that they're going to be the same character, but it's going to be more intriguing, like Tony Stark was intriguing.
Yeah, I think he's going to take more like an attitude like Khan in the Star Trek movie. Like more serious, but yet cool. Yeah,
I think, because obviously with the loss of Robert Downey Jr.'s contract, when that expires, somebody's going to have to take over. And obviously, Chris Hemsworth is not going to do that, because he's boring.
Yeah. Ladies like him, though.
Vision's not going to do that. I don't think Bucky or Falcon will. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. So, Doctor Strange, definitely. Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You state your thing on Ant-Man.
Well, I think, he's going to be probably the leader. Probably. I hate to say it, but I think he'd probably be the leader. I know people don't like him, but...
I'm sorry. Back up here. Do we have an argument here? I promised these boys if there was an argument, I would hear both of their cases and decide a winner.
Okay.
So, boys, you seem to have had yourselves... found yourselves a disagreement. Please explain what the disagreement is, and then state your theses.
Well, Ant-Man B, and
I get it.
The Infinity War. Yeah, great. In the Infinity War, I feel like if they played off Ultron and Vision as a creation of Hank Pym, then he would definitely be in it.
Tony Stark takes the credit for Hank Pym's creation.
No, I'm just saying if they go with the original story arc, and just it's too late now, obviously, because they went with Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. But if they originally if Ant-Man had a movie back in 2007 or 8 when it was supposed to be made and when it would have fit in, you know, when there's Hulk and Captain America and later Captain America and Iron Man, where it's like, you know, core comic book characters, before they get into Black Panther, you know, with supernatural powers and Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, I think if they put Ant-Man there, it'd make more sense. I just think, honestly, Ant-Man's in such a weird place that it's not going to work out as well. Because, I mean, Ant-Man has no other than the fact that he has a relation with Vision and stuff, that he's the creator and the builder of Ultron and Vision. I mean, what else is he going to do? He gets small, and he gets big. I mean, honestly.
That's true.
I mean, if they go on the fact that he makes... I mean, he's obviously genius, but I don't know what else they do. He'd just be stuck getting small, going around crawling on Thanos.
That's true. Alright, Kiefer, what do you think?
I think what they're doing is, like, a cycle with the new Avengers, how they did with, like, Tony Stark. I think they're doing that. They're starting a new one. Why would they put Ant-Man in such a weird place if they didn't have him come for a bigger role later?
I'm just saying...
Because if they wanted
They originally wanted to have, like, Iron Man... They were originally supposed to have it, like, after Iron Man or something, and then Iron Man was so good they decided to make a sequel instead of making the Ant-Man movie. Ant-Man was one of the first ones to be scheduled, and then it just got putting off, and finally they just allowed it. I don't really think he's really in the framework. I don't think he's going to be a leader in it at all.
Well, let's look at it. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
No one thought. I mean, no one. I didn't even know what the Guardians of the Galaxy was.
Yeah, but that's a laid back retro style. That's fine. You can have them here and there. You can have them with their own movies,
right there.
And you can have them with a little bit of the Avengers because it's kind of a nice clash. But there's always going to have to be, you know, that serious Avengers type people that are hardcore superheroes, and that can actually do something. I mean, if it was Ant-Man and Iron Man switched, I'd say go for it. But I just
don't care.
I just think that
I just don't care about Ant-Man. I don't know how many people care about Ant-Man.
that's the reason why. Because I don't know. Did you know who Guardians of the Galaxy was before they told you about the movie?
Yeah, but Ant-Man is not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Ant-Man is a serious character.
I don't really understand how you're comparing
Ant-Man's a serious character.
No, wait.
Guardians of the Galaxy
you've got to explain why you're comparing Ant-Man to Guardians of the Galaxy.
But Guardians of the Galaxy was just so out there, away from the Marvel Universe. You know how we have Iron Man.
Keep going.
Look at the camera so they can hear you.
But, you know...
So, keep going, dude.
But, you know... Marvel, if you look at it, some people couldn't even, like, rate it until it got into the movie theaters. So that just says something, you know?
Yeah.
So that means that they didn't have trust in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And they just signed on saying that Ant-Man needs to be a property of the Marvel Universe, like, a couple months after the whole Guardians of the Galaxy was released. And so I think that they didn't have any faith in Ant-Man. Like you said, no one really cares about Ant-Man.
No.
But who cares?
I mean, honestly, the main reason I like Ant-Man is because he created Ultron and Vision.
Yeah, but what Ant-Man can do, since he's an inventor, he can make a ton more stuff for the new Avengers. See, like you said, Tony Stark won't. You don't think?
Scoot over.
Okay. Right. Well, you don't think, like you said, you don't think that Iron Man will be in the new Avengers.
No.
So who's going to be the new inventor of all their technology and stuff? It
That's
won't
true.
be
That's
S.H.I.E.L.D.
a good point.
Because they won't be able to rebuild by the time that Infinity Gauntlet. And let's face it, that's in part 2. Infinity Gauntlet number 1, there's going to be major explosions. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s going to be probably destroyed by the end.
That's true, but they also have Vision.
Yeah.
They have the whole Jarvis system. I mean, by this time, the Jarvis... I think Tony Stark may be retired. He's finally perfected the Jarvis system, and it's just on its own. I think it can just fly on its own.
But remember, Thanos has different gems. He has the reality gem.
That's
so
true.
what if he turns Vision against everybody else? Who's the only one that can reroute Vision without Iron Man? It's Ant-Man.
That's a really good point, actually. I haven't thought about that because with all those gems, I don't know how they're going to play it off. If you haven't read the comics, you don't understand what those gems do.
No, if you look at
I don't understand what those gems do.
The reality gem, every single component of the entire Marvel Universe is based off each gem. The reality gem.
Yeah.
Like the life gem. So when Iron Man's retired from being from Civil War, the first Infinity Gauntlet, he's not going to look back on it, you know?
Well, think about this, though. I understand your point, who's going to be in the Inventor, but what if Tony Stark is retired, stuff goes down, Vision gets rewired, he comes out of retirement. Robert Downey Jr. is back, everybody likes him. I mean, I think they'd rather have that, get somebody coming back from retirement than just introduce this guy that had this movie that nobody really liked. That maybe it was a good movie, but it just wasn't as popular as Iron Man. And I think people would rather see Robert Downey Jr. than Paul Rudd.
But we got Paul Rudd, though.
That's a terrible argument, I'm just telling you.
Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Alright, you know what?
Who do you think? Well, let's do a thesis.
You guys do a thesis right now. Quick, little 2-sentence thesis.
I think Ant-Man, it really depends, honestly. I don't think my prediction for Ant-Man, the standalone movie, is it's not going to be as good as a hit as they want because it's out of place.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And because of that, they're not going to have enough momentum to roll with him as being a leader. And they just don't have the right storyline with Tony Stark really being the main inventor. I think it'd be too late to push him as the main inventor in this.
Alright, Kiefer?
I think he doesn't have to be the main inventor. I think he should be like a prodigy of the Tony Stark Industries. I don't think that he's mainly an inventor, not a creator.
Well, let's think about this though. That we're not talking about Hank Pym Ant-Man. We're talking about the second Ant-Man. This Ant-Man's a thief. He's not an inventor. He's not Hank Pym.
That's true. He's not.
Well, I thought it's pretty much
No, Hank Pym is Michael Douglas. He's old in the standalone movie. They're going with the second one. I forgot what his name is. Sorry.
Okay, Kiefer, I'm sorry, but that point just made you lose.
I know. You just brought that to my attention.
But not only that. I think Noah had a great argument when he said that Ant-Man is out of place. Like, if it would have come out like when Iron Man 2 came out.
I think Ant-Man could be one of the biggest characters in the universe.
Yeah, he could have, but they could.
It was just all because of Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in that first Iron Man that just kicked him right out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kiefer. I love you, but I've got to give it to Noah. Sorry.
Okay.
Man. All right. I believe that's all I need to do for this video because I don't know what the crap they're talking about. See you guys.
Hopefully we can agree on some of this stuff here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, I want to make some predictions about the new Avengers.
What?
I think...
Sorry.
What?
Hey, I'm going to send you out the room like Connor did in Spanish right now.
You realize nobody on the camera
Okay, go ahead.
What you're talking
and nobody's watching this anyway.
Okay.
That's true.
So,
Okay.
I think
What you think?
Hulk is definitely going to be probably one of the main stars because we haven't seen a Hulk movie. It's kind of a rumor that he'll be in the second.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mark Ruffalo, I don't even know how far into Phase 4 Mark Ruffalo is going to go, if he's ever going to get a standalone movie. So he's going to have he's obviously going to get some serious screen time, either with Guardians 2 or Avengers Infinity War. So yeah, keep going.
And I think that Falcon's going to be in it. They have to put... Because I think all the main heroes that's been in the Marvel Universe is that's a second, supporting character. So I think that they're kind of setting them up. I think they're trying to, test out how these characters are with the whole public.
Yeah, so would you rather have Bucky or Sam Wilson?
Oh, Bucky, in my opinion, because it just goes with the whole Civil War. It's probably the smartest idea what Marvel can do. Because if you read the Civil War comics, Captain America dies, and Bucky's
mad and he goes on a rage hunt to find the people. Yeah.
And he takes on the new Captain America symbol. It doesn't mean that Steve Rogers is America. Captain America is a symbol.
What? Steve Rogers is America?
I said it doesn't. I said it doesn't.
It doesn't mean that Steve Rogers will never be Captain America again.
Yeah, it just means that...
no one that dies...
You can revive him.
Yeah, he can always be resurrected. Nobody dies in this universe. I mean, people die, but they don't get wiped out.
Yeah. And so, Bucky... They've set Bucky up, huge in the Winter Soldier. Because why would they have that final scene while he's in the museum if they didn't have something planned for him? That's just the Easter egg of, hey, we're putting Bucky as the new Captain America.
Yeah, I agree. And if Bucky somehow falls through, they always
have Falcon, because Sam Wilson was really great in that movie. It's probably...
Yeah. Alright, so, requests. Who we think is going to be someone that's not already that doesn't have their standalone movie or is in any other compilation movie that we would like to see in the Infinity War or some kind of Avengers lineup fairly soon, either Phase 3 or early Phase 4. First one I'm going to say She-Hulk, because once Mark Ruffalo's gone, there needs to be some kind of Hulk character, and She-Hulk is just such a big character. She really
changed the tide of the Civil War.
Yeah, but other than Civil War, obviously they're not going with her in Civil War. Other than that, even the storylines she has by herself, she's a great leader in the Avengers.
And somebody to carry the heavy weight in the Avengers.
Yeah, somebody, you're always going to have that Rampage character.
Because Mark Ruffalo is, like, getting big roles now. He's all these, like...
Yeah.
Yeah,
but his contract's going to be over by Phase 3 or early Phase 4. So yeah, she's kind of like a woman Captain America, honestly, and that she's a leader. Next one, the one and only, the little known Moon Knight.
Here we go.
The best Avenger of them all. He's awesome. And what I would like to see is if they never get Spider-Man in this universe with Disney. Stop laughing, Jackson. You know this is going to happen.
Right.
If they never get Spider-Man and never get their own series, obviously if they had Spider-Man, Moon Knight is such a big component of many of Spider-Man's story arcs. I'd like to see a team up with Spider-Man and Moon Knight, because that'd be awesome.
It would be kind of...
That'd be pretty cool. Maybe fight Taskmaster. We're going to have Taskmaster soon. Phase 4, Taskmaster. But if they don't have Spider-Man, they could always go with Black Panther. And honestly, if it's not too late, I'd like to see Black Panther. My kind of story arc for Black Panther would be Taskmaster and Black Panther. Because he's such a great villain, and they haven't really introduced him yet. And put Moon Knight in there. Get him in there. It's not shoehorning anybody. He's awesome. Nobody knows about Moon Knight. But he's such a great character that I think they could build on that and maybe put him in Infinity War. Because Black Panther and Moon Knight are kind of like the same character in that they have like this relationship with the gods and stuff. And if they don't put him in Black Panther later in Phase 4, I just want to see him in an Avengers team. Just West Coast Avengers style, maybe him and Hawkeye, and some form of Captain America would be nice. So yeah, that's my request. What about you?
I'd like to see an Agent Venom movie. That would be awesome.
That'd be too cool for school.
Dude,
an Agent Venom movie.
Okay, Jackson, you don't say what the crap, because Agent Venom...
Okay, so to explain what Agent Venom is, if you remember that really bad sequel, that third installment of Spider-Man, and that really awesome but butchered villain called Venom, the Black Spider-Man, think of that character. Think of Ultron in a Black Spider-Man suit. That's what he is. And then he turns good, and is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
I'd like to see him team up with Guardians of the Galaxy, like that comic book you were saying.
I was reading that the other day. That Agent Venom teams up with Guardians. If the Guardians gets a third film into Phase 4, go right ahead. Or maybe Guardians 2. If they could... The only thing is, if this is only theoretical because they don't have Spider-Man. If they could get Spider-Man by this year, then they could put Agent Venom in Guardians 2 and have him in Infinity War also.
Yeah.
And that'd be awesome.
I like to see also Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolt would be cool.
If you don't know, during Civil War, they needed supervillains to be chipped so that they can fight and round up superheroes. And so it consists of Taskmaster.